From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. This was day 15 of the evidence hearing for the group of men known as the Fbx Four.
That's right. We've been following the trial since its beginning and have more in this report. For Kevin Pease, Eugene Vent, Marvin Roberts, and George Freeze wrapped their case after more brief testimony from the last of the men to take the stand.
Had about 18 years to think about it.
It's now up to the state, who intend to uphold the guilty verdicts. The first witness to the stand was one of the men's mothers. It was a particular statement that prosecutor Adrian Bachman honed in on with another witness. He said he came forward 18 years later after a Fairbanks Police Department investigator came to teach his high school class.
Passing, I said, yeah, there's a lot of things where it'd be interesting to get information out to the public or whatever.
Paskvan says he drove Vent's mother to the airport after the wedding reception where she allegedly disclosed a conversation that she had with her son.
He assured her that Mom, I never got out of the car.
That conversation, according to Vent's mother, never happened.
Eugene told you, Mom, I never got out of the car.
No, ma'am, because I never spoke to him.
During cross-examination, Paskvan admitted to conversations with FPD investigators in which he criticized the Fbx Four.
Could have been something that I made as a statement.
And further admitted to being a bar owner where investigators, including Aaron Ring, frequented.
You had a pretty favorable impression of Detective Ring, is that accurate?
For the entire police department, I would say, more than just one individual.
But it was a taxi cab driver whose account of that night took up much of the day. That witness testified she actually saw what she believed to be the Fbx Four during the time of the Hartman murder.
They also want truth, but they didn't see what I saw. They don't have those memories plaguing them that this needs to come out, you know?
Though Marvin Roberts, convicted of being the driver, drove a blue two-door car, she described a beige four-door car, but swore it was Marvin and Kevin Pease that she saw that night.
They think that those boys are innocent, and they're fighting for that without knowing whether they are innocent or not.
The state announced this morning that they will be calling Jason Wallace to testify later this week, the man who the petitioners say is the actual killer of John Hartman. He will testify under immunity granted from the Attorney General. This is Stephanie Woodard reporting.
Day 3 of the third special session of the 29th Alaska State Legislature came to pass in Juneau today. Lawmakers are considering Governor Bill Walker's proposal to buy out TransCanada, which Walker argues would give Alaska a greater say in the Alaska LNG project. The legislature pulled $500 million in CBR funds to potentially appropriate towards work on the Alaska LNG project, but not specifically a buyout of TransCanada. Deputy Natural Resources Commissioner Marty Rutherford gave presentations to both the House and Senate Finance Committees today. Rutherford says TransCanada Corporation is supportive of the state buying out the company's position in the proposed project. House Finance Co-Chair Steve Thompson of Fairbanks says Governor Walker has made his decision on the buyout, but the ruling on whether or not to fund the deal will be rendered by the state legislature.
The decision has been made by the governor and the commissioner of Department of DNR that they want to buy out TransCanada. So the decision's been made. I imagine the letter's written and it just doesn't have a signature on it yet, and until we fund it, the signature's not going on it.
Fairbanks police are investigating a hit-and-run accident that occurred in the early morning hours on Saturday. 52-year-old David Stewart was hit by a yellow sedan as he walked across the street at 3rd and Steese at about 1 a.m. He was taken to Fairbanks Memorial Hospital, where he was reported in fair condition. Anyone who might have witnessed the incident or has information about it is asked to phone police at 450-6500.
And when we come back, police are soliciting your help in trying to find out who hit a Fairbanks man and left the scene.
That's right, Daryl. Also, e-cigarettes are very popular. Unfortunately, underage students are becoming entranced by this new technology. We'll give you more when we come back.
And welcome back. The Eastern Interior Alaska Subsistence Regional Advisory Council met in Fairbanks last week to discuss hunting and fishing on public lands. Monty Bowen has more in this report.
The Federal Subsistence Board has 10 regional advisory councils statewide, representing the people who depend on the fish and game resources in that area. Twice a year, the councils meet to discuss proposals from the public to change federal hunting and trapping regulations.
The councils are probably the most important part of the whole federal subsistence program, so it's important to get their thoughts on it so that the board can make informed decisions when they move to either adopt or not adopt these proposals.
Canada Chiefs Conference sponsored a College of Rural and Community Development Tribal Management class, helping rural hunters advocate for their traditional hunting and fishing rights. The class included an overview of the federal law giving preference to rural subsistence users. As part of the class, students attended and gave testimony at the Eastern and Western Interior Regional Advisory Council fall meetings.
Basically, what we're doing is we're working with rural hunters, mostly Alaska Native hunters, and improving their skills to advocate on behalf of their own hunting and fishing rights, because they are dependent upon the resources versus someone from outside the area, outside the state maybe.
The Office of Subsistence Management analyzes science, data, traditional knowledge, and public testimonies from the Advisory Council meeting. The information is the basis of their recommendations to the Federal Subsistence Board. The next Regional Advisory Council meeting will be held November 3rd through the 5th at the Galena Community Hall in Galena. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
Students and faculty in 5 military area schools will be provided iPads for use in early reading and math literacy programs with what they call the Basic Training One-to-One Project. The Department of Defense Education Activity is funding the projects, which provide grants that support military schools. Now, students in the 1st through 3rd grades and faculty members at Anderson, Arctic Light, Badger, Crawford, and Ladd elementary schools will benefit from the pilot project. The grant awards the school district with approximately $1.5 million to provide the iPads and tech-focused curriculum over a 5-year period. Executive Director of Technology Janet Cobb says the district already hired a digital learning coordinator to support staff training. She adds that 1st grade oriented iPad kits will be purchased next year to kick off the project.
There's been other one-to-one implementations with iPads that have been very successful in improving student performance, and the students at these schools, they are military connected, and so they come from all over the country, and they're at all different academic levels, and so it'll be, I believe it'll really make a difference.
E-cigarettes, a new trend among smokers, is catching on to teens like wildfire. E-cigarettes, also known as vape pens, is an electronic nicotine delivery system. These devices heat up and produce aerosol, which comes in hundreds of flavors, including bubblegum, Mountain Dew, and gummy bear. A recent report put out by the Alaska Department of Health and Social Services said that during a 2-month period, approximately 72,000 tweets were related to e-cigarettes, and 90% of those tweets came from e-cigarette sellers. Twitter does not allow e-cigarette companies to advertise, but many are finding loopholes by advertising through retweets. The use has increased dramatically, according to the 2015 Alaska Youth Risk Behavior Survey, where it found 1 out of every 5 teens reported using e-cigarettes.
So we're really concerned if there's any increase in use with e-cigarettes in youth, because it is still a tobacco product, and there are harmful health effects from the use of e-cigarettes for youth, whether that's actually harming their brain development in that time where we know so much brain development is going on, or if it's becoming addicted to a tobacco product that will carry into their adulthood.
Alrighty, Joe Cook is next with sports, and he has the weekend recap.
That's right. The Ice Dogs had a tough weekend of hockey, plus high school sports and a new I-5 after the break.
Hello Interior sports fans, Joe Cook here this Monday night with the weekend recap in local sports. After a 5-0 win over the Aston Rebels on Friday, the Fairbanks Ice Dogs were in position for a sweep in their 5th straight win. The Rebels, they took issue with that after a scoreless first period. Mike Murula gave the Rebels their first lead of the series with a power play goal at the 17-minute mark of the second period. But the Ice Dogs, they quickly answered. Less than 2 minutes later, Clay Cross netted the equalizer for Fairbanks. Joseph Ingman and Reggie Lutz got the assist on a power play goal for the Ice Dogs. The Rebels cashed in on another penalty with 46 seconds left in the second period as Dean Balsamo redirected a shot into the net, and that was enough. Darion Hansen made 41 saves for the Rebels, and the Ice Dogs couldn't tie after numerous chances on net. The Rebels get the best of the Ice Dogs as they escape the Big Dipper with a 2-1 win to split the series. To show how ugly and rugged this series was, there were 47 total penalties, 3 hours worth of penalty minutes, and 5 fights. That's not Ice Dogs hockey, but it suited the Rebels.
We like to be a physical team and just wear people down, and happened to be that way, and we got the win, so it feels really well.
You know, the shots keep coming, you just get in a rhythm. You know, it's very hot out there, so it's not like I lose my sweat or anything. So, you know, once you just get comfortable and you just get rolling, and that's what happened tonight.
And the way it was kind of broken up fit their mentality and how they play a little bit better than ours. You know, hats off to them. They sucked us right into it, and we took penalties. I think 4 penalties in the offensive zone. That's never a good sign. So our feet weren't moving. They did a good job of clogging it up, and we got to be better as somewhat like playoff hockey.
And switching to high school sports, West Valley hosted a 7-team tournament on Saturday in wrestling. All the interior schools had wrestlers in the one-day tournament. Delta Junction, Allison, Hutch, and Monroe were the 3A representatives, while the MAC schools made up the rest of the field. It was the first tournament for a lot of wrestlers. The Malamutes won the Red Gold tournament with 220 points. Lathrop led the field with 7 individual winners, including Micah E., Caden Ott, and Jack Dickinson. North Pole earned second place with 141.5 points. West Valley, the host, was third with 121.5 points. Allison was fourth overall with 75 points, lead the 3A teams. Joey Frissalone, a senior, won the 170-pound title for the Wolfpack to lead 4 West Valley wrestlers with titles. Caleb Dunlap of Allison adds a season-opening 138-pound title to his back-to-back state football rings, and Dew Rogers and Ethan Shoemaker won the 150-pound and 160-pound titles for the Patriots to start the year. North Pole is set to battle the Malamutes this Wednesday night at Lathrop High School. And down in Anchorage over the weekend, 2 high school volleyball teams competed in the Service Diamond Tournament. The West Valley Wolfpack won the silver bracket with a 2-1 victory over Wasilla. West Valley rallied after losing the first set to win the final 2 for the W. The Wolfpack went 5-3 in pool play before going into the silver bracket. Ruthie Hebert was named to the all-tournament team for West Valley. And after finishing 2-6 in pool play, Lathrop lost their 2 silver bracket matches to Kodiak and Mount Edgecombe. Both teams are back to close out the last week of the regular season this week. And now it's time to wrap things up with this week's edition of the I-5 Interior Top 5 Plays.
At number 5, Caitlin Bixby provides us with a nice play from the back row. She finds a small corner behind the Ravens defense for a point as the Patriots defeat the Allison Ravens in 4 sets on Wednesday. Number 4, Clay Cross of the Ice Dogs is the beneficiary of Reggie Lutz and Joseph Ingman assists for the game-tying goal in a 2-1 loss to Aston on Saturday night. Coming in at number 3, Caleb Dunlap of the Allison Ravens pins Lathrop's Andrew Mueller in the first round of the Red Gold tournament. Dunlap won the 138-pound title for the Ravens. Number 2, Ice Dogs forward Todd Burgess shows off the skills as he buries 2 goals, one in the second and one in the third period, to help seal a 5-0 win for Fairbanks on Friday night. At number 1, Gavin Nito Nieto registers his first home shutout and his second donut of the season as he makes 30 saves on Friday night to blank the Aston Rebels in Game 1 of their eventual series split. To vote for the play of the week, click on your favorite play on the I-5 poll on webcenter11.com. You can also comment on the KTVF Facebook and YouTube post and at KTVF11 Sports on Twitter for your vote. The play of the week will be revealed this Friday.
The I-5 Sports Report is brought to you by Adient Orthopedic Physical Therapy.
And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for watching. Mike Schultz is next with your forward forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back into our Monday night edition of the Fbx Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about the weather. Hope you had yourself a good weekend. All in all, not too bad. I got a lot of chores done, and it It was a little chilly at times, but for the most part, pretty good weather. Now we are looking at a change coming our way at the latter part of this week. We'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Our photographed a big setting sun that Bill Blizzard was able to capture. And once again, some gorgeous colors, vivid reds and oranges. And as always, if you have a photograph to share, well, please send it to photos@ktvf11.com. Your numbers, today's high 31, the low last night 23, but look at the record high 48 in 1936. 1 year earlier, dropped down to 28 below for the record low. Our sunrise and sunset, 8 hours and 32 minutes. That's a loss of almost 7 minutes from yesterday. On our satellite radar, lots of clouds and moisture moving across the Gulf of Alaska, but it's all high-level clouds for the most part. You can see a little bit of shower activity starting to work its way in on some of the areas, especially to the southwest of the Fairbanks area. We might see a few sprinkles or flurries tonight. That's about it, but nothing really heavy expected. Across the rest of the state, we're looking at mainly partly cloudy to cloudy skies over southeast Alaska. Cool in Juneau, only 37 degrees there, 40 in partly cloudy skies in Anchorage. Over the Kodiak region, some scattered showers at 49 degrees there. Mostly sunshine around Cold Bay, 43. Bethel at 42. Nome, quite a bit cooler at 34. And really cool, once again in Barrow, 15 degrees with Fort Yukon at 21 and cloudy skies. Lower 48 weather, all the weather is happening to the eastern side of the country. To the west, it's just the opposite. Really beautiful weather for the most part. 91 degrees at Phoenix, 83 in Las Vegas. A cool day in Seattle, 54 degrees. Not too bad in Denver, 62 degrees. Cloudy skies in Minneapolis. The rains have finally stopped over Texas. Thank goodness. Boy, they were just getting inundated with close to 20 inches in some areas. More rain falling across the deep south. Nice over the northeast. On our satellite and radar, this is the remnants that was once Hurricane Patricia. Not that long ago, still a lot of moisture embedded with that storm. And a new system moving across the Rockies will bring a frontal boundary that will bring more rain. In fact, you can see on the outlook, the storm that was once Patricia is just an area of low pressure, but still strong enough to bring flooding problems, heavy rains, gusty winds, maybe even a stray tornado on the coastline. And the good thing is it's bringing some drought relief too, but at a very big cost. Now the overall jet stream, once again, expected to take a big dive down to the south, bringing locally heavy rain by the latter part of this week to, once again, Texas. They don't need that, while the rest of the country over the eastern half looking pretty good. Okay, it is time for our kids' weather. The kids are off today because they're having parent-teacher conferences, so we'll give you a weather fact. In 1926, Barrow, Alaska received a record 15 inches of snow in a 24-hour period. Highly unusual. They don't never receive that much snow. That was pretty amazing. And again, as always, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank. And tomorrow night we'll resume with the kids once again with the kids from Hunter Elementary School visiting us. Real quickly looking at our forecast for tomorrow for the northern sections, cloudy and cold for Barrow, rain and snow at Nome, and a chance of snow in the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, pretty quiet. Cloudy skies at Fairbanks and Healy, partly cloudy skies at Delta Junction. Over southeast Alaska, pretty good there too. Partly cloudy skies across the entire region with 47 expected for the high at Juneau. Over the southwest, rain showers at Bethel, a chance of rain for Cold Bay, and very heavy rainfall expected in the Kodiak region. And down around the Anchorage Bowl, looking at partly cloudy skies in Anchorage and Homer, more clouds at Valdez. And our forecast for the remainder of the night, pretty quiet evening. Once again, looking at continued cloudy skies, cool temperatures, 26 for the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast, once again, pretty warm, well, warmer, 38 degrees for with cloudy skies. But look at the 5-day, looking at a chance of snow for Friday and for Halloween. And then also looking at the temperatures cooling down dramatically. In fact, overnight on Halloween night, it could be down in the low teens with daytime highs only in the mid to upper 20s for Saturday.
So it's going to be the case again this year.
A white
Halloween, right? And all those little ninjas and princesses and
in
big
their
old
snowsuits.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, it'll look like a potato chip.
Right. Well, it's all about the candy, and as long as there's plenty of that to go around, that sounds good. All right, very good. Thank you, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Well, tonight on NBC Nightly News, more than 260 have been killed after a 7.5 earthquake hit parts of Afghanistan and Pakistan today. Lester Holt's up next with all that information.
All right, join Mike Fussell tomorrow morning during the Today Show for news updates and school bus schedules.
And from all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.
Good night.